Good morning, everybody. Just want to thank everybody for coming on this morning. My name is Kenton Sonnenberg. I'm with the Energy Equipment Department at CHS, and we've got a really good presentation for you today that's going to be done by Mark Porth, our account manager out of our Missouri and other areas towards their south anyway. But just want to give a couple of quick comments before we get going here. We do have a question and answer that you can, if you scroll down a little bit on the presentation, you'll see questions are available to be asked there. And feel free to please ask any questions as we're kind of going along. I will feed those to Mark and we can answer them as quickly as possible. We'll also leave the presentation open just a little bit longer towards the end, take any additional questions that anybody might have. So with that, I want to introduce Mark Porth, and I'll let him give himself a little more detail on what he all does for CHS.
Hey guys, good morning. Thank you for joining us today. Again, my name is Mark Porth. I handle the Missouri, Kansas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas markets for CHS. So basically everything in the South. Really excited to be with you guys today. I'm passionate about autogas. I've used autogas for many years. I believe you've got to burn what you sell. And almost everything that I own, as far as vehicles and mowers and all those pieces and parts, all burn propane. It's an incredible fuel, as you already know that. But it's fun to be able to see where CHS is headed with this new program to come along beside you guys. And so today's agenda, it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. It may be a little elementary to some, and it may hopefully spur some thoughts for others. But today's agenda is how do we price our fuel competitively? How are we going to compete against the others? And again, our competition is not the marketer down the street. The competition is electric. The competition is gasoline and diesel and those other fuels, not necessarily our competitor that's in our same town. So we'll also talk a little bit about how to promote your site. We'll go through some positive customer experiences. Again, I've used propane for a long time and have been on the road, and those experiences are sometimes great and sometimes there are others. And then what resources are available to you guys. And so with that, let's get moving right on into it. What do you say? So how do we price competitively? We all know that propane out in autogas is an excellent fuel. It's highly portable. It's 105 to 110 octane. Makes motors run really, really well. Once customers move over, they truly love the experience that they have with propane. The maintenance on the motors, all those things makes propane an incredible advantage to fleet customers, to school buses, to whomever that may be. Propane is an excellent option for them. But we've got to be competitively priced. And if we're not competitive, then our fuel is not going to be used. And so a couple rules of thumb. We all know that propane doesn't have as many BTUs in it as, say, 87 octane gasoline. So therefore, it's going to use a little bit more propane to fuel the vehicle. This pickup that you're seeing right here is probably going to make, I'm going to say 16, 17 miles to the gallon on gasoline, and may make 15 miles to the gallon on propane. The rule of thumb is they're somewhere between 80 to 90% efficient in relation to the gasoline. And so therefore our fuel must be priced in that range also. That if have our propane price at the same value as gasoline, if the gasoline at that C store is $2 and our propane is $2, the customer's probably going to buy the gasoline because of the value of the 80% range. And so if we look at our propane to be competitive and using the 80% rule, again, you'll know your competent or know your customers and what really works for them. But you need to be somewhere in that 80% of the $2 gasoline, just to pick a number. So we'd be around $1.60 for our propane, which is 80% of $2. And so with that, we're fuel equivalent to the competition, and therefore customers plus all the other benefits, they're going to, if everything's a tie, propane should win because of all the other advantages that we give. And again, that's a very simple explanation. Um, but as I've traveled across the country, occasionally you end up at some of the bigger sea truck stop chains, and they've got $3 propane, but their gasoline is $2. Well, the guy traveling across the country, if he has the option to burn gasoline, he's going to do that and leave propane sitting alone. Um, but if the value is equal or better, of course he's going to pick the propane because that's what he would rather burn. And so, um, again, that's kind of a simple thought. But if we're not competitive, it's going to be difficult for us to be able to sell our fuel. And so, with that, there's other considerations that go into it. Um, with taxes, we need to make sure that we're capturing all of those. Let's go ahead and move forward there, Kenton. You betcha. So federal and state taxes in that $1.60, which was where we determined 80% of $2 or $2 gasoline. You need to make sure that your federal taxes and state taxes are a part of that value. We'll be needing to collect those unless you have other arrangements worked out with your customer to where they're submitting those requirements. You'll need to make sure that those values are all rolled into it. I know that some school districts and municipalities have different rules and how their taxes go. So I don't want to go deep into the weeds on the taxes because every situation can be a little different. But you just need to know your customers and need to know your area because every state is and how they manage those is a little different. Location, location, location. Location of your dispenser is very important so that it's seen, so that it can be known that it's there, and also that it's easily accessible to vehicles as they're coming in. If it's tucked back in a corner and tight and hard to get into, they may just make the choice of paying a little bit more for our gasoline because it's simple and easy. If you make your dispenser, and what a beautiful setup this one is here that's being shown. Nice big area in front to be able to pull along the side and be able to fill your vehicle and continue on. Simple and easy, and the more easy it is for the consumer, the more they're going to love it for you. So let's move along and see what we've got next here.
Yeah, Mark, I was just going to input too, so yeah, especially, with as you're kind of talking about pricing and stuff like that, as we've traveled, and you and I have kind of talked too a little bit about pricing as far as how that all works. But when you go into a location and and you've got a car or vehicle and you want to purchase propane, but you're maybe getting charged a bottle fill price. I mean, it's kind of a struggle to promote propane autogas when we're having to pay the larger price values. And I don't know if you were going to get into that a little bit later, but
no, that's a great
point.
Yeah, because the cylinder business is a whole different animal, no doubt about it. There is a lot more cost associated with cylinders. For one, the cylinder itself is expensive. The labor to be able to fill it, the transporting of it to the customer. So there's a lot of different things that go into there that make cylinder business and autogas dispensing at your location completely different animals. And so, yeah, I think you're exactly right, Kitten, that we need to look at these as two different things. And filling autogas is different than filling an RV. The dispensers are all going to have Stably connections on them, so it'll be much more like a gasoline experience versus, the RV value, which you've got to have somebody come out and help them fill and on and on and on. So you have additional labor. So therefore, it should demand a higher value. And so, yeah, great point. Absolutely, that it's not one size fits all. There are multiple options out there. And so, what are some of the positive customer experiences that we have out there? As we travel across the country, whether it's somebody who's going um, from one state to another, or vehicles are being moved. Let's go ahead and roll on forward there, Kitten. Um, that it's, the pricing is going to be a major consideration. That if you do pull up to a location and the value is way too high, is higher than what it should be in relation to the BTU content, the customer may still buy it, even if some of these new vehicles, the school buses as they are dedicated propane. They're going to have to buy your propane, but they're going to leave with a sour taste in their mouth. And so, as long as we're competitive, our industry is going to continue to grow. And word of mouth is one of the best salespersons and we all know that. If you have a great experience, people are going to tell other folks, and you're going to gather more people to your location. Fueling assistance. If you are at a location where you don't have 24-hour access to the dispenser, and you must have somebody available to you to help fill the vehicle, we need to make sure that there's somebody on site. Too many times I've driven out of my way to go to a retailer's location and to come to find out that I just missed the bobtail driver who would be able to fill my truck. The CSR, the person at the front desk, one can't leave because the phone may ring and we'd have a missed call, or two isn't trained. And so we need to have more and more people trained to be able to fill your vehicles or fill your customers as they come rolling through. And then the last piece of that is, and as we've already kind of talked on already, is dispenser configuration. Make sure that it's convenient and easy for the consumer to be able to get to you. And then also in that dispenser configuration, and I think Kenton can speak to this, is we have lots of different options on the dispenser as it's coming to you with this new piece of equipment. Will it do the autogas and bottle fill at the same time? I'll let Kenton talk a little bit about that if you'd like.
Yeah, so thanks, Mark. That's a really good point. There's a lot of marketers today have got typical cylinder filling dispensers located at their locations, and they are somewhat easy to upgrade to what we would call a kind of a multiple unit that would fill cylinders and fill autogas at the same time. Typically, what I've seen anyway is they'll run off one pump, and we typically would put a high differential pump on there, so that way we get enough pressure to fill the cars and stuff like that, the vehicles, but also, we won't have too much pressure where we're going to have any issues with filling, say, a 20-pound cylinder or forklift cylinder or something of that nature. So it offers a really good option. You can set them up for on the side of the dispenser that's for the vehicles. We could do public refueling depending on what state you're in. And that kind of brings me back to a little bit to the fueling assistance part, Mark. As we were kind of talking about, you were talking about that earlier, making sure that you have people that are trained and able to do it. And just knowing that if you're lucky enough to be in one of the states that started implementing self-fueling as a positive aspect, and people can start using public refueling. In those instances, it's a case where, you can maybe set up a pump that was open 24/7 and you can activate it with your card. I know, for instance, right now, Minnesota's on that route. I believe also Iowa, and I think Missouri is also, if I'm correct. Mark,
yeah, that is correct.
More to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's about all I got.
Okay, yeah, and the high differential pump is very, very important. Our industry is full of the lower differential pumps, which have been the workhorse of our industry for a long time. But with all the new liquid injection systems that are out there, all those vehicles are returning engine temperature fuel back into the tank. So therefore, you're going to have a substantially higher pressure in that tank, and so therefore you must have the high differential pump, or you're going to sit there with the spitter valve bleeding for an extended period of time to try to get the pressure down on the tank so that you can get it filled. And so, but our equipment group is awesome to be able to help you specifically design a dispenser for your site and for your application that you need. And so those guys are very knowledgeable, and they're happy to help you figure out what's going to be the best for you. Promoting your site. Boy, isn't this a pretty picture? You know, you got a school district here. You've got the district's service truck that's filling with propane. All those buses in the background. Hopefully, all those guys are all burning propane. Also, the propane school bus area has just exploded, especially with this crazy winter that we've had, which has been absolutely awesome. But with the extreme cold temperatures that have been up north, so many stories are already coming out about how districts are loving their propane buses. They're not having issues with them starting when it's 40 degrees below zero or 25 degrees below zero. They're saving the district a lot of money because they're not having to have those buses all plugged in all night long, and start that bus at 5:30 so it can sit out there and rattle for an hour and a half or whatever to be able to get some engine heat so that you can warm the inside of the bus. With propane, it's just simple. Go out, turn the key, and off we go. And within a few minutes, the bus is warm inside. I'm a little bit off topic from promoting your site, but I'm very excited about how the school bus industry is wrapping their arms around propane and wanting more of that. But promoting your site, how are you going to do that? You know, you've got to get out and talk about it. Let your local fleet people know that you've added a new piece of equipment to your site or to your C-store or to your wherever that location, your card troll, whatever that might be, so that they know that it's there. Advertise your value. Show them the great things that are out there. You've got to promote yourself and promote your site, or nobody's going to know that you're there. Again, everybody knows this. I'm telling you stuff that you already know, but it can't get glossed over because it's very, very important. And how else do you do that? So there's so many different websites, so many different apps that are now out there talking about alternative energy, alternative fuels. And so this is just one of the sites that are out there. And CHS would come along beside you as we're gathering information and all the different pieces and parts on how to help you get plugged into those different apps and into those different websites. We'll be happy to come along beside you and make sure that your information is in there. So as somebody plugs in a zip code, up you come, and you'll be able to see yourself, or see your customers will be able to see you as they're traveling through. Some of the great resources that are out there. Here's a lovely picture of Ryan as he's working with a customer to try to figure out various different things. Your account managers are very versed in lots of different pieces and parts, whether that's helping you contract and plan for your next year's supply, or help you with site locations where to, because most of them are going to know, I know where my customers are, and I have a general feel for what's in their area, and would be able to maybe make a suggestion. Hey, this would be a great site. Lean on your account manager. He's there to help you. Ask him questions, and if he doesn't know or she doesn't know the answer to it, they will get back with you as soon as they can and find the right answer for you and work along beside you to help you grow your business. Those are some neat pieces. And so as Mark, we kind of look at, yes, go ahead.
Yep, just got to kind of throw into a couple of other resources to kind of consider as you're, looking at, maybe putting a station into effect and stuff like that. Things that we've been very successful with is obviously the Energy Equipment Department too within CHS. But on top of that, your state associations are always very, very good resources to bounce any of this stuff off of. There's also PERC and then NPGA that could be very good resources depending on what kind of questions and stuff you might have.
You bet. You bet. We're going to move the needle on autogas. No doubt about it. We're breaking new ground. So there's going to be a lot of questions. We're going to be pushing on the envelope of what we can do, and of course we always want to do it safely, but we also want to do it as efficiently as we possibly can. And so, lots of resources out there. Don't be shy. Get your questions and thoughts and comments out there so that we can move this needle on forward. And so as we kind of wrap up, I kind of want to just go over the total piece of what the propane powered rebate program is again. I know we've been talking about it a lot of different webinars. There's a lot of buzz in the industry about it, but the marketer rebate, CHS is coming beside you to help you grow your business. And the best way to do that is burn what you sell. We're helping you with dollars to be able to convert your vehicles, to be able to convert your bobtails, to be able to put advertising, put a marketing wrap on a sales vehicle or whatever that might be, so that we can advertise and burn the fuel that we are selling. It's nothing worse than trying to go sell propane to a school district and we pull up in an electric car or in a something other than burning propane. And so I don't know, that's my personal opinion. And so the dispensers, my goodness, this is the infrastructure that we need. We've got to have the dispensers to. It's a chicken and the egg thing. Well, I can't set a dispenser because I don't have any customers. Well, I don't have any, the customer's looking, I don't want to buy autogas because I don't know where I'm going to get it filled. And so CHS is coming along beside you to help you with that infrastructure piece. With up to 70% rebate for the cost of a dispenser, up to $30,000. And I know several states, their state perks are coming along beside to also help with that infrastructure and giving additional rebates to the point that almost the dispenser can be very, very, very affordable. Never in the history of the industry have we had this opportunity. $25,000 for a dispenser that's behind a fence. 50% of that cost. The school bus or fleet conversion rebates. That $2,500 is really exciting money to be able to use to give back to the customer, for them to be able to see that propane is a partner with them, that propane is looking out for their best interest. And that $2,500 per vehicle, whether that's a school bus or a fleet vehicle, can go a long way in showing the industry support for their business. Not to be missed by any stretch is the irrigation motors and generators. There is a lot of propane that is consumed through irrigation motors. As the cost of the new diesel motors have gone through the roof, propane has remained extremely competitive with that. And they're getting enough horsepower behind them to where we can get some deep well water and able to use an incredible fuel. Lots of convenience there. I mean, they start and stop with an app on your phone. So that the farmer doesn't have to go out to the field. If you're in the irrigation business, you already know these things. It's out there. All this pieces and parts are underlined by our training and grant writing opportunities, to where we will help you get to some of the VW dollars, to get to the DERA dollars, or whatever you need to help you with that, or come along beside you with training for your new equipment. And helping you train your employees. And so, what are some of our next steps? What are we going to do after this? I know we're deep and heavy into the winter. As I look out my window right now, it is snowing to beat the band here in Kansas City, is where I'm located. And so we're really just trying to figure out, and I get our mindset is maybe where are we headed today? And where are we going to be tomorrow? Where's our supply coming? How's the roads going to be? On and on and on. So we're deep into our daily business. But as you're running around the country looking, start thinking about future locations. Where would it make sense to put a dispenser? Man, this has a lot of travel. I get a lot of crossroad travel here. There's always, man, there's a lot of fleet trucks running around, panel vans that are coming in and out of this area. So just start looking and start thinking about where you could set a dispenser. Um, know your competition. Again, the competition isn't your competitor down the street or in your same town or whatever that might be. The competition is electric. The competition is uh, gasoline and diesel. We CHS, we sell both of those products also, but with propane, we understand the efficiencies that are out there, but you got to know what your competition is. Plan out your dispenser and the equipment that you're going to need as you're getting ready. Let's make sure we're going to do this once and we're going to do it right. And anything that is able to be added to that dispenser that is going to make your business better, make it more easy, whatever that can be, let's talk about it and plan for it. Again, talk to your account managers, talk to the equipment folks about your different locations and what rebates are available. Let's get the biggest bang for the buck that we can get. We CHS don't want to see this money sitting in and waiting. We want to get it out to the field. And so talk with us. Let us know what you're thinking. Let's be progressive. And then for sure, let's go do it. Let's take some action. Let's get started. Get that ball rolling. And so anything else there, Kenton, that you see that we should in those next steps?
No, I think you covered them really good. I think, that's really important to some of the things you were saying there. Getting your pricing appropriately priced, getting your dispensers in a recognizable location, making sure that you have the right type of dispenser so that, when that consumer comes in there, or let's say you sign up a fleet that's next to the road to you and they want to start buying fuel from you. Really the goal is to make sure that person filling the vehicle will have a similar experience as that they would have when filling with gasoline. So, that means, stick with the high differential, pumps and motors and stuff to make sure that we're getting the flow that we really should be. So yeah, that's kind of what I've got. And I guess just as the slide says, just looking for more questions. We've got the question and answer kind of posted up right now, and I just wanted to this wasn't really a question that come through, but I thought I'd share this with the group anyway because I think it's important. So this is one of our larger marketers that has been doing propane autogas for a couple of years anyway. So one of the things that they do is they offer their customers the ability to lock in a price for 1 to 2 years based on their volume. And it's a great risk management tool for them. They normally do better than 20% off of the price of gasoline because the customer has invested money in the conversion. So that way they need to do a little better to pay for their conversion. So it's thinking kind of out of the box, and with propane prices, you do have the opportunity to contract a little further out than you would know with like a refined fuel, so that fleet can know further out what their costs are going to be, and they can lock in that price so that they can feel confident when they're coming in that station that the fluctuations in the market aren't really going to affect them, and they know what their fuel costs are going to be for them the next year or maybe even up to 2 years.
Great point. Absolutely. There's not a lot of other energies that are out there to where you can go 1 to 2 years out. I sat on the school board at our house, at our home, and to know that we are able to budget what our fuel costs are going to be is a tremendous help. So, any other questions that have come through?
Yep. Yeah, I just got one more. It says, do some of the dispensers have a digital feature that will display the price to the public? And absolutely. A lot of the newer dispensers, most of the newer dispensers, especially if it's dispensers that are public type dispensers, or maybe they're taking data as far as drivers, mileage, that kind of stuff. Normally they will have a digital meter on those, so they'll even look similar to a regular fuel pump you'd see at a gasoline or a diesel station.
Yeah, that's very important that the new experience with the new Stodley nozzles and all of those things is so so convenient for the people. There's no more turning and twisting and getting the mercaptan on your hands or the smell or whatever, because it just isn't there. And so,
Yeah.
good. Well, folks, thank you for joining us today. We truly appreciate your time. If we can, we'll continue to hang on here for just a little bit, but if there's more questions that come up, please reach out, talk to the different resources that are available. Again, the resources are there. They're ready to help you in any way that we can. I'm happy to help you. If you want to give me a call, we're on the Market Pulse. They're on the right-hand side, Mark Porth. Give me a ring, and I'd be happy to chat with you if I can help you. Would love to do so.
Yep. And Mark, I'm just going to kind of reiterate, we will leave the question and answer box open here for a few more minutes and answer any additional questions people might have. So feel free to type in your questions. I can type back an answer to you and get the answer to you quick as possible. If it's something you need me to contact you with, please leave your name and or phone number in the email box, and I can grab, or not the email box, but the question and answer box, and I can grab it out of there and reach out and get in touch with you. So with that, like Mark said, appreciate your time today, and look forward to working with you guys.
You bet. Thanks, guys.